Are you a business owner stuck in fear, doubt, and worry about what the marketplace will look like in the future? Then this show is for you. Strap on your seatbelt and get ready to disrupt and innovate. Here's your host, Lisa Levy.
Ladies and gentlemen, on today's episode of Disrupt and Innovate, I am thrilled to have with us a very special guest, Jordan Fourcher. He is the CEO of CryoX, a trailblazing company that specializes in passive cooling with active performance. Jordan has revolutionized the way we cool outdoor objects without electricity, helping them reduce their temperature by an impressive 15 degrees. Jordan brings a diverse range of experiences to the table, showcasing his entrepreneurial mindset and a natural talent for innovation. He's served as a CEO for CryoX since October of 2020, driving the company's success and pushing the boundaries of cooling technologies. Prior to this, Jordan served as an entrepreneurial catalyst at the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program at Arizona State University, where he honed his skills and helped nurture the entrepreneurial spirit in others. Jordan, welcome to the conversation.
Thanks for having me, Lisa.
I was so thrilled to have this conversation. And I promised that I would do a really brief introduction, but I want you to share your story with the audience because we all tell our own stories better than anybody else can.
Sure thing. I guess I will start on the relevant path here for CryoX back in college. I could start way further back, but I will start there at ASU. I'm originally from California. I guess we'll start there. I'm originally from California, where the weather is somewhat more amenable. Still gets hot though, and I've always had issues with stuff overheating. Always had that problem. I can think of 5 or 6 distinct times as a teenager that I'd be out doing something, my phone would overheat. So when I got to Arizona, that problem just got worse, and I was like, okay, this is a problem, and I'm not the only person doing this, and we all have smartphones and we all go outside, so this is an issue. Some of us more than others, but it's an issue. So I set out to make a wireless charger that actively cools your phone. That was my first product. I successfully got funding for it through ASU. I prototyped it. I even made it. I didn't scale it, though, to production process just because I finished around 2021. And by that time, the supply chain was and still is uncertain, unstable, and not a good place to put all your eggs in that basket. Especially for a product like mine, it has a lot of novel moving parts. If any one of them are missing, the product doesn't work. And they're all kind of niche little parts. So I really couldn't count on some random factory in Taiwan not existing for a month that would destroy the whole thing. So I was like, okay, too many eggs in one basket for that project. I'm going to shelve that for another time. So I still have this thing shelved. Maybe one day I'll release it. At the same time, I had a backburner project, which was this amazing white paint that just, for some reason, cooled down everything you put it on outdoors. Now, its initial form was not excellent. It was crumbly. It had all sorts of issues where it would fall apart, it wouldn't stick to anything. It would straight up melt most materials you put it on. And I was just like, you know what? This has potential. It just needs some work. So I, for the past 2 years, have been working on perfecting that technology to the point where now I have CryoSkin, which is when you take this paint that nobody can or knows how to use, and it's very hard to use, and you put it on a vinyl, and vinyls are like stickers. It's like everybody's used stickers since they were little kids. Very easy to use. You put it on there, and then you adjust the properties so it can match the stretch and other properties of the vinyl. And then voila, you've got CryoSkin. And I've got on to my third iteration now. And what CryoSkin is a self-adhering, self-cooling vinyl that uses radiative cooling technology to actively remove heat from any system you put it on. So you put it on a hot object outdoors, it will actively draw the heat out of that object like a heat sink, and it shoots it off into the vacuum of space.
So that is some cool stuff. In this conversation, right, this audience is really interested in the idea of being disruptive to innovate and make positive changes. So very specifically, you got tired of things overheating. But let's extrapolate this out and talk about what you see CryoX being able to influence. Where is this going in the next 5 years as it reaches market and adoption and people start to go, oh, we can actually use this? Where are some of those applications that are going to be the most impactful?
There's some really positive, great applications that matter to a lot of people. Some of them on a personal level. So, I mean, one of the applications I'm pursuing right now are vehicles, because there's two reasons for this. It's specifically fleet vehicles, like the ones that deliver mail and post office and those Amazon ones. So, most people don't know this, but you know those little post office, post office vehicles that drive around, the little ones that are the size of a smart car. Those do not have air conditioning, and neither do the big trucks either. Those ones don't have air conditioning either. So all the UPS guys, all the post office guys, all the FedEx guys, every summer risk their lives literally to deliver you your mail. And they don't have to risk their life. Like, it could be a comfortable environment, but the companies don't want to spend $10 or $20,000 on retrofitting an air conditioning unit that just costs them even more money, right? And up until my product, there was no retrofit you could do for under $5,000, that could vastly improve the thermals of the vehicles. And it's perfect for these vehicles because they don't have insulation, which means that my product can work 100% effectively as a heat sink. So I'm trying to get into that market. Another thing of that is like, okay, the new electric ones do have air conditioning. Problem is that you got to power that with something, electricity out of the battery of the vehicle that you need to go drive, and and it costs the company money to charge the thing. It's not good for the environment, right? You want to reduce the amount of energy you're using, you want it to be efficient. And it ends up being that a lot of the energy usage of these vehicles is not actually driving, it's actually just air conditioning, especially in the summer, So my product on top, I did the math and I figured out I could actually increase the range or efficiency of a Tesla Model 3 by 20% in the summer. And I'm guessing, using that same kind of math, I could increase the efficiency of one of those Amazon Rivian electric delivery vehicles by about 40% in the summer, just because I would be offsetting that air conditioning by about 10 degrees or so.
Wait, I want to stop you. I want to
Yeah.
stop you because I want you to say those numbers again. That impact is huge.
It is. So the math I have right now shows that you could increase the efficiency or range of a Tesla Model 3 by 20% in the summer. And I extrapolate that out because it's a denominator issue. I extrapolate that out that you could increase the range or performance of a electric delivery vehicle like a Rivian by about 20 or 40% in the summer, just because you're offsetting that air conditioning by about 10% or 10 degrees, which is a lot.
That is so huge when you think about it and keep it in, right, the market that we're sitting in right now in the Phoenix market. 10 degrees is a lot of assistance in the heat of summer when we're talking about 118 degrees outside, the impact, right, for the drivers inside, and that range increase of 40% for a delivery vehicle is game-changing financial impact for that company in terms of the effectiveness and the efficiency of their operation.
Additionally, I mean, there's a lot of angles for this. You could even look at the environmental impact as well, because you're saving that 40% in electricity, right? Which means you're stressing the grid less and using a lot less. In fact, it even saves the money. I did the cost calculations, and CryoSkin would pay for itself in energy savings in about 3.5 to 4 years. I think it lasts a lot longer than that. I still haven't broken any of my pieces yet for my long-term durability test. They just continue to work. So it just about, it would pay for itself in about 4 years just in the electricity savings alone. Because you're saving about 20% of your electric bill, 30% of your electric bill every time you charge that vehicle. Just like $3 or $4 out of 17. But if you want to look at the greenhouse emission savings, like name another aftermarket part of $1,000 that can increase a vehicle's efficiency by 20%, at least. Not even, I'll even wager 10%. There's nothing out there. But this, other than like replacing the entire frame with carbon fiber, which is beyond $10,000, that's like $50,000. Like, there's nothing you can do to actually increase the efficiency and performance of these vehicles by that much. Right now, people are fighting to get light bulbs that are 2% more efficient. Like, it's like, come on, let's take some big steps.
And these are big steps. So you see the application in vehicles. Where else do you see them?
Yes.
Yeah. What other industries?
Yeah, I also am targeting IoT, which is like a really broad, kind of weird phrase. But once I explain the kind of clients I have right now, it'll click. So right now I have two clients in this space. One of them is a drone battery swap station. They're called Hextronics. Shout out to Hextronics out of Miami. Love those guys. They make a kind of a smart car size, a little smaller, a little shorter, but smart car size drone battery swap station, meaning a drone lands on or near it, pretty much on it, and it opens up a dome and it swaps the batteries out and charges the old battery, and then the drone takes off and flies away, and it allows for continuous operations, which is really cool, right? A lot of use cases: firefighting, defense, search and rescue, mapping, all sorts of crazy stuff. Agriculture. There's a lot of uses for this. Problem is that hot batteries are not great. You don't want hot batteries. We all remember, well, the Note 7, that was not hot batteries. That was a compression issue. But hot batteries are not good. I've seen the effects.
Hot batteries explode. Let's just.
They do. I've done it before. I've made hot batteries explode. It's not great. And even if they don't explode, it vastly decreases their performance and lifespan, and it's a liability. And it's not good for the environment either. Again, it's not good. Because all that lithium and stuff, it's just, you'd have to get rid of that battery much faster. So, you can cool down this charging station with an HVAC unit, right? But, most, if not all of these applications that these drones are being used for are off the grid, right? So you have a generator or you got a solar battery pack or whatever. And if you're running an HVAC unit, you can't support that power load. Not only that, but if you can actually remove the HVAC unit and just, for a milder climate, let's say it's only going to get up to 90 or 80, you can just straight up use CryoSkin. You can just get rid of the HVAC unit entirely. Save all that electricity, save all that cost, and charge less for your end client. So that's what I do. So we put it on top of some of these domes that they've got, and it cools down all the batteries and all the internal electronics. And it works great. They love it. That's just one of my clients. I have another one. This one's more secret, so I can't do a shout out to them. But they make they don't make a battery substation. They make a secret mining box. It's super secret. They won't tell me anything about it. But I have seen the shell of it. And basically, you put my stuff on top. There's a battery on the inside that needs to be kept cool. You can't, for obvious reasons, you can't put an HVAC unit because this thing is about the size of a briefcase. And even if you could find the one that small, they don't have enough power in the thing to support that. So it needs to be actively cooled passively. Wow, I wonder where I've heard that before. That's what my stuff does. So put it on top, they put it outside in a field somewhere, and it does its thing. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. Another field that I'd like to get into is telecommunication boxes. So we've all seen those little boxes on the side of the road, or the ones near those cell towers, right? There's the cell tower, and then there's a box next to it. So all those boxes have to be actively cooled, and if they get hot, it is a liability because hot electronics tend to fail. So what can you do? Well, you can, again, draw from the grid, use HVAC, hope the HVAC works constantly, right? Up your electricity cost on that thing. Or you can deploy my stuff and you can reduce that energy usage, reduce that energy cost, make the thing more self-sufficient, resilient for examples when power goes out, now you're on a generator, right? Or when maybe power goes out entirely, right? Things like that, where you want to keep those electronics from baking. So those are just some examples of industries and places I like to go into right now. There's more places I can go, but that's just where I'm kind of focusing on.
That's the current focus. And for the audience, right, the key to this is this product is something that you can apply to the exterior of something pretty much any shape, because it is a vinyl based, oversimplified, right, calling it a sticker, but or a wrap, that it has that ability to then actively passive cool. I said that, I got that, passively active cool. Either way,
whatever, it doesn't matter. It does both.
It does both of those things. And so as you're growing the business, right, you've shared with us a couple of the industries that you're interested in. Starting a business and growing is not easy. Will you share with us a few of the kind of the challenges that you've addressed, that you've overcome, or some things that are on the horizon that you're getting ready to deal with?
Yeah, so from the start, the biggest limiter for this technology, for me personally, and I think for other people in this field, because I'm not alone, but I basically feel alone because there's nobody else makes a product like this, is price. So a lot of people are price sensitive, especially in that vehicle market. IoT, they don't tend to have an issue with this. just because they can incorporate it into a margin and it works out. But for anything in the vehicle market, it's always like a comparison issue. So it's not like, oh, this thing can replace HVAC. It's like, okay, how does this compare to like a window tint? I mean, technically and in reality, it has nothing to do with it, and it's actually just the opposite thing. Window tints and certain tints can actually make your car hotter. Because you're either absorbing or letting through the heat, and it just, where do you want the heat? That's basically it. You don't get a choice. My stuff just gets rid of it. But for vehicles, it's always compared to other things in market. So I actually have a range in which I can price. I can't get too high. I can't leave out of things in comparison in the market, just because people are like, well, there's nothing like that in the market that's that expensive. Like, even if the benefits are completely there. But for IoT, it is much more flexible, just because it's usually smaller square footage sizes, and they're but higher volume, and they have a larger margin, and it actually enables them to make their product work because it's a technical thing that they're fixing with it. But either way, my improvements for CryoSkin have been price improvements and technology improvements. So my original one cost me almost $20 a square foot to produce. So my first clients, I was selling it to them for 20 just because I didn't know what to price it. So I was making break even on my first version. Now I've kind of settled at around $30 a square foot. And I've decreased my costs to almost under $10 here through a variety of innovations. Some of them are sourcing innovations. Other ones are actually material innovations. For instance, my process used to take 2 layers of vinyl and attach them together to get a superior vinyl. Now I have figured out and found a vinyl that I only need 1 layer of, so that eliminates half the vinyl. There's other processes as well, certain dilutions that I can do. So a lot of price innovations. With those innovations as well comes some material benefits. So my original one, if you tried to apply it to something that had more sharp angles, it would struggle a little bit. It would leave some gaps. My newest one, it can fit around a credit card's edge. It can fit around the edge of a credit card's edge. That's how flexible it is. So there's been quite a lot of improvements that I've been making over time.
So over time, we're talking kind of a 3-year lifespan of this company so far.
Yes.
And through all of this, you've described, and haven't used these words, but I want to kind of bring this back around for the audience, right? Everything that you're doing is a consistent state of being willing to experiment, right? Trying new things, looking for those ways to innovate. Obviously, wanting to control cost is in your financial best interest, but it's also in your customer's best interest to get them the best price point that you can. So as a CEO building a company based on a technology, innovation is driven by experimentation. Is that something that you think will continue as the business grows over time?
Absolutely. I wrote my thesis on R&D, research and development. You couldn't stop me. like I'm going to be tinkering on this thing for a long, long time. Eventually, of course, I will, sell the company. I've got other things I want to do as well. But as of right now, I've got a lot of work I want to put into this stuff. I have other improvements I'd like to make, chemical improvements, performance improvements. I'd like to figure out how to make the paint itself suitable for consumers, because right now it isn't. And, like, technically you could give it to somebody and technically they could stick a paintbrush in it and paint something, but that was my first product and it sucked. So I want something good, right? We don't want people handling basically prototype level materials. We want something great. So that's what I will be working on, right? Is CryoSkin is just a great implementation, because this is basically the reason why I made a vinyl rather than just selling the paint, because the paint's the actual active ingredient in the product, but I put it on a vinyl. And why is that? It's because most people do not have a professional grade spray system at home for vinyl painting, or for just painting. Nobody has that, but everyone's got a pair of scissors. So that's why I sell the vinyl, because I can give this to any customer, any business. They don't need any experience, and they don't need any tools besides a set of standard scissors, and they can use my product. They don't even need scissors. They can use a knife. Like, they can cut it however they want. They can put it on whatever. They don't have to worry about paint, which is where if you put it on, it's kind of permanent. Now you can't remove it if you don't want it. and like it's not shelf stable, and it has those sorts of issues, and it's really corrosive to some materials. It's just yeah, vinyl is where it's at.
Vinyl is where it's at. So first product, right, getting it to market and making it consumable by the quote unquote masses. And refinement over time for more specialty applications, because I'm going to make a series of assumptions, but when you can get that paint to a certain level of stability and you can sell it to paint shops and they can apply it directly to things like cars, there's probably some opportunity for entering new markets in new ways and doing some different things. For this audience, it is so important that I want to come back and close one more time on the idea. Everything that Jordan is doing is with that mindset of experimentation, of getting to a minimum viable product, which didn't work, paint, finding a better way of putting it onto the vinyl and making it applicable to a larger audience and a larger customer base, and then continuing to refine and improve from a quality perspective, from a cost perspective, and being able to focus on the needs of customers, where we've got 3 or 4 targeted industries right now, but really there are so many different applications. I bet everybody listening can go, oh my God, I could use it in this space. We all have a need where something in our world is just hotter than it should be. Jordan, I am so appreciative of you sharing your story with us and your journey. Thank you so much. And for those of you for our audience members who are listening, if they want to learn more, where should they go to find out more about CryoX?
Sure. I'll make it easy. It's CryoX.co. That's the website, cryox.co. It's not CryptoX, guys. It's CryoX.co. I get it all the time. I don't know why. I guess I look like a tech guy. So CryoX.co. That's the website. You can also kind of just search us up on social media. It's CryoX Co. or just CryoX. You can look me up, Jordan Fourcher. The last name is Fourcher. You just Google that, I'll show up. So yeah, I mean, you can follow the journey. Follow me on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever. I'm not usually on social media that much, but when I am, it's usually something important. So.
All right. So all of those links will be included in the show notes for those of you who are watching or listening and not able to grab it right now. We'll make that available. Jordan, thank you for being here. And for my audience, you know my rules. Don't get left behind. Join me next time.
That's it for today's episode of Disrupt and Innovate. Head over to iTunes and subscribe to the show. Every single week, one lucky listener that posts a review on iTunes will win the grand prize drawing, a $15,000 private VIP day with Lisa Levy. And be sure to head over to disruptandinnovate.com and get your free copy of Lisa's gift. And join us on our next episode.